Hello, this is Mustard and Boaty Do Cars, part 4, and today we're going off for a little drive in a car with no name. And as usual, Boaty's decided that he is the passenger. Why is that? Can you not drive or what?
You know where you're going.
I really don't. If I'm driving,
Yeah, if you're driving, it means I can criticise you.
what have you got to criticise me about?
I'll find something. Whereas if I was driving, you could criticise me.
Yeah, well, that's what you're concerned about, isn't it?
100%. It is an obstacle. It's an obstacle in the shape of a hemorrhoid or a Ford KA, which is of course a Fiat 500 in a less attractive body. It looks like a mobile wart, doesn't it? It's a Fiat 500 in just a less attractive body. It's kind of like having Liz Hurley's vagina in Bella Emberg.
Who's Bella Emberg?
Oh, the one off Russ Aber.
Oh, right.
The
Is that the one that looks a bit like a witch with curly hair?
yeah, that's the one. We could be here sometime.
So, why do people go this slowly along roads that can do 50 long? Is it because they're good drivers or because they're useless? What's your opinion?
I have no objection in theory to people choosing to waft along at a speed with which they're comfortable, as long as they don't do it when I want to use the same road.
Yeah, but I bet he'll carry on doing the same road speed when he gets into the 30. I think he's distracted anyway. That car's not exactly smooth on the road there.
Well, if he does maintain a speed, that means that we're entitled to place a curse upon him. And he is maintaining.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Right, so.
I know he's slowed down a little bit now.
Well, nonetheless, he's in rotter territory.
Rotter?
Yeah, he's driving like a rotter. Dear rotter, I curse you. May something fall upon your toe at an inopportune moment and be slightly uncomfortable for a relatively short period of time. I used to do this for a living.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. But I mean, either you did do or you told me a lot of bollocks. It could have been that.
Yeah, the jury is still out on that one.
So, an observation that we've both made here is that, I can't quite get that in the right place, is that people driving normally look thoroughly miserable, like their life's about to end.
Miserable, unhappy, annoyed, not full of glee as we tend to be.
Yeah, and we think we know why this is.
Yeah, because you might think that it's because we're two chums and we're having fun together, and that's true. But if you watch our own individual channels, you will know that we are gleeful and joyful when we are alone.
Yeah,
not in a masturbatory sense.
Yet, so our default expression is one of contentment. Almost happiness,
yeah,
whilst
absolutely.
we drive along in our car.
Indeed.
And the only obvious reason for this is the car.
The car is a big part of it. There's also the places that we tend to drive, but that also goes to the car because we love the car. We want to go somewhere that will add to our enjoyment of the car.
Yeah, but that's...
which is what we're doing at this exact moment in time.
But the reason that I know you want to explain, and I wish you would do, is
No pressure.
why cars like this are so special.
They're better because you become more intertwined with them, more involved with them. They will give you pleasure, whereas another car would give you a modern, boring car. At best, it's going to be a kind of no-fault scenario. You'll have a journey and it won't annoy you and nothing will go wrong, and that's kind of the best that you can hope for. But when it's a car that you're personally involved with, then you're much more likely to take a bit of pleasure and a bit of joy because you've invested your time, effort, or even just your emotion into it. I'm a big believer in taking pleasure from life, and it sounds a simple thing, but it isn't. A lot of people won't allow themselves to take pleasure from life in areas where they very easily could, and cars and driving are one of those areas. Why not take pleasure when it's possible to do so? And cars like this really help you to do that. How selfish of them.
Yeah. It's much more full than normal up here. But that's fine, because we could just pop along to the next stop along. Unless you want to record in front of that dog.
No.
What about the lady?
No. Oh, I see where you went there.
Not the most pleasurable thing to drive on this, actually. In fact, it's almost seatbelt off driving.
Why seatbelt off?
I don't know. It doesn't really sound like it makes a great deal of sense, does it? But it does somehow. Like when you do when you reverse.
I don't take my seatbelt off when I reverse.
You should do. What do you reckon?
Yep.
You're asking the wrong person. Now, today we are up here on Blackstone Edge with this car, which has been supplied by Revival.
So I'm afraid the needle got stuck on the record.
It happens quite often. And Boaty and I are going to discuss this car and what we're going to do with it whilst we enjoy the view. Between all the noise and the cyclists.
Did you not arrange for this road to be closed?
No, I didn't.
Amateur.
I don't have the powers I used to have.
None of us do.
Why are we filming the litter?
I don't know. But
We don't like it, so why are we even filming it? And you've done the same thing.
What this is going to be is a preparatory chat about and walk around this vehicle, which is now for sale. This isn't going to be the actual shoot for the advert because, as you will see, the car has not been fully detailed yet. But we are going to walk you around it, we are going to chat about it, and we're going to explain why this is the perfect car for the ethos of our channel and what we're trying to push, and why this might just be the perfect car for you.
Me?
No, not you. You great goof. I was doing a good piece to camera there.
Well, yeah, I was going to say I've already got one.
Yes.
As you can see, this car is red, and the specific type of red, some probably think is copper leaf. It's definitely not night fire red, but it is fire frost red. So disappointed. Come on, cheer up. Cheer up.
Now, I didn't spend more years than I care to remember as a classic car dealer without being able to spot a proper car when I see one. And this is what I would call a proper car. It was, and still is actually, as we are brokering it, it's owned by the owner of a Rover restoration company. And this wasn't his personal car, it was his wife's car that also carries his child. Now, this means two things. One, as you can imagine, a car that is carrying the most precious people in the world to you, your wife and your child, you can bet that this is mechanically very, very sound indeed. But also being a mechanic's car and a family car, it's also a bit of a midden. And that is good, because that means that you can work with it to make it beautiful and to make it yours.
For me, this is a Rover, so I like Rovers. I'm happy for people to buy Rovers, and the 45 is a jolly nice car to drive. In fact, it's probably a much nicer car to drive than most realise.
Okay, so we know that this is a Rover 45, but which Rover 45 is it?
This one.
This one, yeah. Well, first and foremost, it is a hatchback. Now, some say that the hatchback is not quite as imposing as the saloon, because they do a booted version of this, but I would say that this is the one to go for a lot of people. Why? Well, it's practical. It's a hatchback. You can actually use this for doing normal car stuff. You can put shopping in there. And again, specifically, this is a transitional car in that it is pre-facelift, but being a transitional car, it does have some of the facelift features. Come with me, and I will show you one of them. Now, if you have a look in there in the cabin, you will notice the white dials. Now, that's a facelift thing. But this being a transitional car, it does feature them, and in my view, they are an improvement. They're a little bit more modern, and yet at the same time, they're even more classic than the previous rather boring black dials. One of the lovely things that you'll see in here, as we're inside, have a look at this. That is original fitment Blaupunkt CD, and I happen to know that the case for the face-off is also present and is currently in the boot. Now, these cost a fair few quid. People are very keen for original equipment to be fitted to their car, and these are doing 100, 200 quid, so it's a massive bonus to have this there in the car.
One of the things about the Rover 45 is that you can sit in the back.
Only just.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do it for long.
Now, this is actually with the seat in...
Man position.
No, it's not. It's in your position.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is possible. It is possible.
Good, because you're staying there for the way back.
I don't think it would accommodate me and a medium-priced prostitute. Now, before this car goes to its new owner, it's going to be checked over. And anything that's pivotal, because the car has been out of commission for a little while. Is it about a month? Possibly?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be checked, and anything pivotal is going to be done. Some jobs, however, that are not pivotal are going to be left for the new owner, because they're part of the fun of owning the car, improving it. I call them Sunday morning jobs. Now, some of them might look a bit kind of scary, and you might imagine that they're going to be impossible to do, but they're not. Now, let's look at one problem that is very typical of many British cars of this period. Not just Rovers, Jaguar, Daimler, many, many cars. And that is this. Have a look. And you can see that the roof lining is sagging. So what can we do about that? Well, as a cheap and immediate DIY fix, just to tidy it up, just get some simple dressmaker's pins and just pin it up in places, and you get a nice quilted effect, and that will do the trick. And you can have that as a long-term solution if you wish, or you can replace it. And to do it yourself is a little bit tricky, although it is doable. But what I would suggest is get it into the car's owner, actually, Craig at Rover Revival. You would get this roof lining fully replaced for less than you think. Have a guess, how much do you think it's going to cost? 300, 400, no, less than 200 quid. A little bit more if you wanted to get these done at the same time. Another common problem. Not the end of the world, but as you fall in love with the car and you make a long-term commitment to each other, it's the kind of thing you might want to do. And you might want to even improve it from the original fitting. Why not have a nice suede in a colour of your choice? All of that can be done, roof, doors, in a suede lining of your choice, for I think about 230 quid, which, you know, what's that?
230 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You will save the money for these jobs, where is the money going to come from? I'll tell you where. Depreciation or the lack thereof. This car is never going to be worth any less for being another year older. If anything, it's going to be worth more. And any money, love and time that you invest and put into the car, that's going to be paid back in spades. Not literally in spades, in value.
Underneath the bonnet of this particular Rover, and with many of them, is the Rover K-Series engine. That's an engine I like. It's an engine that I think is fabulous. But I'm not opening the bonnet here because due to some nonsense, people will assume it's broken down when it isn't. In actual fact, this issue of K-Series head gaskets is nowhere near the problem that many people seem to think it is. In fact, you'll find a car like this is more likely to get you to where you're going than practically anything else on the roads. Ah! I nearly fell in the ditch with that chair. Boaty!
So, as Mustard says, it is the K-Series engine lurking underneath this bonnet, and specifically it's the 1.4 with the de-restricted throttle body, which is one of my picks for the range. It's an absolutely superb engine. I have it in 2 of my own cars in my own personal collection. It's peppy, it's enormous fun to drive, it's got a great top end, and it is really surprisingly economical, which makes this an incredibly viable car. And on the subject of the head gaskets, yes, they do have a reputation. You might even say that they have a slight weakness, but the weakness is very often the person in that driving seat there. Here is Boaty's guide to not blowing the head gasket on your K-Series. Number 1. Do not exceed 2,700 revs per minute until the engine is warm. And I don't mean until the temperature gauge is at the midway point, I mean until the engine oil is warm. And they are very finicky about their coolant. Use the correct coolant, check it regularly. In fact, check everything on your car. Don't assume that this is a modern... Don't drive this like a modern car that you just throw in for servicing once a year and don't think about. There's no fun in that, there's no pleasure, there's no involvement. You can't take any pride, you can't take any joy, you can't make an emotional attachment. Get into the habit of checking your car on a weekly basis, and that includes checking that coolant. Check your coolant, drive it properly, you're not going to have any problems.
And the other thing that people assume with modern cars is that this 20,000 mile service range is because it's better. No, it's not. It's because the manufacturers don't anticipate that car living any longer than 10 years or 100,000 miles anyway. So it simply doesn't have to last that long. So when it breaks at 98,000 miles, it's fine. It's supposed to. It's designed to do that. Well done, BMW. Go!
So what you're looking at here is what I consider to be an ideal entry-level modern classic. It's usable, it's economical, it's going to be reliable, and it ticks all of the boxes. It will get you into the modern classic community, you can take it to a show if you wish, etc, etc, etc. But it is still a car, and there are certain things that we are going to want to know. Is it MOT'd? Yes, it is. What is the mileage? It's done, I can't remember exactly, but it's somewhere in the 80,000 range, which is pretty much where you want it to be. Low mileage is nice, but if a car's not been used and it's been stood for a long time, that can be problematical. There are some jobs that you, as the new owner, will be doing. We've looked at the roof lining. What other things can we see? Well, this car was fitted with air conditioning from the factory. That air conditioning no longer works. Would you like it to work? That's up to you. It's not essential. If you would like it to work, you're going to need to add a pipe or two and some air conditioning fluid or however it works. It's some sort of witchcraft, I'm not exact about it. You'll see a couple of little things on your way around the car. The aerial is missing. Do you like listening to the radio? Then you will need an aerial. I think I've got a spare one. If I have, you can have it, free of charge.
So,
Right, so as I mentioned earlier, at the moment this car hasn't been detailed, and the detailing guru of this organisation is Captain Mustard here. So, Captain, give us an idea of how we can expect this car to look when you've spent a day on it.
As it currently is, it's desperately in need of a wash, so that's a start. It does have a few scuffs like this knocking about. Now this is more the kind of thing that I can't really do much with, because it's going to need paint and it's going to need rubbing and filling, and a professional job is what's needed there. What's more likely that you can have from me is a jolly good clean and a buff over, which will bring this car to life much more than you would imagine. Condition wise, it's actually quite good anyway. It's a good start. It's got a few little marks like this here and there, and some of those I can actually buff out. The main thing that will really make the difference is actually cleaning it and then waxing it. Perhaps we should have done that first.
In an ideal world, yeah, but the opportunity didn't present, did it? It's been something of a trying week.
Yeah.
None of this has gone entirely according to plan, but adapt and improvise. Now, ideally for these driving shots, you would be seeing the car from the outside, and Mustard's idea was that he lashed me to the roof and I tried to keep hold of my camera in the wind. I didn't fancy that, so you're going to have to use your imagination a bit. Tell us a little bit about how this car drives.
Oh, well, it drives very nicely, but then they always do. The 45 is a nice, very nice driver's car. It steers and goes around corners very well indeed, and it's comfortable, unless you've got big stupid alloys on, which this one hasn't.
And this is the sort of road that you want to be bringing your modern classic, your pride and joy. Oh Jesus wept.
Might as well. You've gone quiet, what's going on?
I love you, Mum and Dad.
I'm not doing anything stupid. Oh look, there's a peacock in the road. He's doing something stupid.
He's doing something very stupid.
He's a dick.
This is the kind of road that you want to be possibly bringing your modern classic to, and definitely not driving it like this. Although Captain Mustard is demonstrating in a somewhat scary way that even though this is a 20-year-old car, something around there,
almost,
it's more than capable of picking up its petticoats and getting on with the job, bringing a smile to your face, making your heart go a little bit quicker, making your arsehole go 5p 50p, 5p 50p.
Price?
The price of this car is going to be $14.95, and that doesn't include the cherished number plate that you will have seen on the car, which specifically relates to a particular model of Rover, which this one very nearly is. Now, in this little half an hour episode, we're not going to be able to get in all of the information that we need to get in about this car, but we hope we've given you a bit of an introduction and a bit of an overview. Check out our Facebook page for full details, and if the car's not sold by next week, we'll be telling you a little bit more about it. And talking about the cleaning, what will make a massive difference is the interior. The interior of this car it's actually very good. It's original, it's in good condition, there's no damage to speak of, but what it is dirty. But that's a really satisfying job, and we'll get you. Well, it'll be a satisfying job for them to keep on top of it. You'll do we can't sell it like this. It's a bit of a midden.
That wasn't going to.
Good. So we'll get you to a decent starting point with the interior, but then you'll be taking over, and it's the kind of interior that will repay your efforts. It will be a lovely place to be. and you will learn about the joys of certain valeting products. You will become obsessed by, like what I have. And I know that that's not grammatically correct, and I did it on purpose. Do you manscape?
No.
Not at all?
No. I need to start doing it because I keep getting trapped.
Ah.
Oh, there's so many things I can tell you about getting trapped, but I don't really not going to. Well, do you want me to? Should I tell you? I'll switch this off and I'll tell you all about it.
Okay.
You do manscape?
I don't. Well, I was kind of pressured into it at one point, and I've done it a couple of times, and then I just kind of stopped doing it. And I am now fully au naturel.
Right.
Does make your little chap look bigger though, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Can't see mine, whatever I'm doing. Too fat.
It's like having a woman with small hands. Was your dad, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we're back off Blackson Edge, and also we've had some dinner. And Boaty made a video about us having dinner, which is fairly standard of him, but I didn't because that's actually real. He didn't even do that off of his laptop thing. He thinks it's funny.
It is funny.
It's not funny.
You do it often enough.
Yeah, but I don't laugh at it because I'm not a child.
That makes it worse. Doing it and then not laughing at it, that makes it an entirely gratuitous part. And that makes it offensive. Whereas if you laugh at it, it's inclusive because other people can laugh with you and you can be amused together. Just doing it and as if it's normal, as if it's acceptable,
Trust
that is
you
wrong.
Trust you to turn farting into a lecture.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's not exactly the end. Well, it is kind of the end of today's episode because we've not had the time to really do a proper one this week.
Yeah, we have to apologise for that. It's been a difficult week. Obviously, we didn't film on Monday because of the National Day of Mourning and obviously Her Majesty the Queen being laid to rest. So that didn't happen, and then there have also been some other issues. If you're subscribed to Paul's channel or a member of his group, you'll know all about. So basically, we've had to try and all squeeze it into the couple of hours that I could fit in today, haven't we?
Yep, that's exactly what we've done. But for a change, we've actually got a car to talk about, and we did talk about it.
Isn't it ironic that the first time we've got a car to sell, we haven't got the bloody time to do it properly?
Yeah.
Should we sing that Alanis Morissette song, or would that be copyright?
It would be copyright, and it's a stupid song anyway, as we all agree.
Do we?
Well, the one about being ironic, when of course it's not ironic, it's a coincidence, so it's just unfortunate. That one.
Oh, you're going to go down that road. Would you do it?
Right, so the next thing to talk about. Well.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's the plan then. Right. This is helpful. So I will do a Facebook ad for the car, which hopefully by the time you see this will be up, or it will be up shortly thereafter.
So it needs to be a bit cleaner as well.
We need to do a proper photo shoot for it if it doesn't sell off the back of this magnificent piece of advertising. So that will be your department.
What, the advertisement or the photo shoot or the cleaning?
Well, specifically the cleaning. The other two we will take on together.
Yeah. I'll clean it.
Guys, as we say, it's been a truncated episode. We've not been able to show you or tell you everything that we really need to. The car is here. It's physical. It's for sale. You can come and look at it. Contact us with any questions that you've got. The car's going to be cleaned. We are going to check it over. We've already, Mustard here has already identified 2 little issues that we're going to need to address before the new owner picks it up. But do contact us. The car's available to be collected, Well, it can be viewed here, it can be collected from here, or it can be collected from my place in the Peak District. Have yourself a nice day out in beautiful surroundings. The price is $14.95. If you want to negotiate with us, if you want us to take part exchange, if you want to swap the car for a night of passion with your wife, just drop us a line, ping us, ring us, whatever, we'll sort something out.
Yeah.
Won't we?
Well, you will.
Yeah. In it.
What in it?
In it. In it, bro.
Yeah.